Good evening, everyone. My name is Martin Kwesi Laoshada. This program is organized by the Rep Entrepreneurs Network. Our speaker for tonight is no other person than our own Mr. David K Egyir. And then Mr. David K Egyir is a managing director of Infrastructure Solutions Outfit Limited. He's the global lead advocate for Zinc for Life. He's a resource person for seminars on critical career matters, emotional intelligence, and productivity. He has written more than 14 books and more than 50 exciting articles on business, self-development, living a happier and more peaceful life, and many more. He organizes training seminars for the benefit of individuals, groups, and organizations. Mr. David K Egyir is also a preacher, a married man, and a very happy man. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome Mr. David K Egyir to lead us in this lecture.
Thank you so much. It's a great honor for me to take you through this session. I believe that by the end of this presentation, we will all be blessed. You know, not long ago, a number of issues or challenges hit us. We can talk of the COVID, recently the Russian-Ukraine war, the stock markets, and so on. Indeed, this macroeconomic environment is truly unstable, and there are consequences. What has been some of the consequences of this unstable macroeconomic environment? Talk about the COVID, the Russia-Ukraine war, the financial markets, and so on. Just one or two people.
Job losses.
Great. So job losses, big one there. Any other?
Steep inflation.
Unprecedented. Probably the last one, then I move on.
High prices. Let me quickly add haircut.
And then difficulty in getting loans from the bank.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. So we can go on and on and on. The environment has been truly unstable and has serious consequences. And we describe it as volatile, uncertain, chaotic, and ambiguous. Now, no matter how many we can list, I can sum all of them into one statement: that there's been difficulty in getting enough ideal paying customers. When we say consequences, we seem to be all the negatives. But then, look at this. On 19th March 2021, BBC News had this headline: Lamborghini's profits soar during COVID. I want to read an excerpt of that for us. It says that Lamborghini had its most profitable year ever in 2020, despite a 2-month shutdown of its Italian factory during the pandemic. Note this: while sales were slightly lower than the previous year, Lamborghini sold more expensive, customized supercars, pushing profits higher. I want us to pay attention to that. And note the people who got Lamborghini to achieve that record. Later, I'll make inference to this as and when. Take the platform we are using, for instance, Zoom. It was in use, but people didn't really know about Zoom until COVID hit, and then their system crashed because the number of people who were now depending on Zoom were so many. So they had to retool Zoom to be able to handle the large volume as a result. So whilst there was doom and gloom, others were smiling all the way to the bank. I want to emphasize that what we've seen and we are still seeing is nothing new. The world has over the years been unstable and to forever be unstable in diverse ways. So this could be one of the nothing news under the sun. Remember, during COVID, while some were collapsing, others were making more money. So it means that even in the unstable macroeconomic environment, there are opportunities. And once we learn to capitalize on those opportunities, the good it will be for us. So this is the outline I'm going to use to guide myself. We are living in one of the best times of our lives, if you look at it very critically. If you take even the availability of internet, and then especially the advent of AI applications all over the place these days. One of the highlights of this era of artificial intelligence is one engineer who uploaded a picture of his refrigerator. So he just opened his refrigerator took a photograph of it, uploaded it to ChatGPT 4, and asked ChatGPT 4 to suggest possible menu. And ChatGPT 4 was able to identify all the ingredients in the picture and suggested very interesting recipes that he could make use of. It's ChatGPT that has become so popular, but there are a whole lot that we can make use of. I believe that with time, we'll get to share some of these resources. There are all these tools, mostly free, to take advantage of. We are living in one of the best times of our lives. In spite of that, more of what we will be hearing in the news and what more people will be talking about will be doom and gloom. And I want to say that in the midst of all that, we have to be calm. This was a mural we did on a client's building. It's about how peace could be depicted. The person who came up with this had the idea of a cliff with waterfalls, with winds blowing, everything seeming to be chaotic. And amidst or in the midst of all that, you find a bird perching. This bird made its nest within it all, and it was not perturbed. So this bird found peace in the midst of the storm. When we finish, this is how it came up. It always reminds me of the importance of being able to remain calm in spite of the storms that surround us all the while. The primary function of our brain is to keep us safe. So inside the brain is a special organ called the amygdala. The key function of the amygdala is to detect signals or information that will threaten you and then prompt the brain into the necessary action. Because of this, naturally, we pay attention to more negative news than positive news. And the news media know this and are capitalizing on it for business. And so let's understand that it's not all doom and gloom, and that there's a lot of positive news. And today is one of the best times we could be alive. Another reason why we need to remain calm is that these days there's surge in certain illnesses and then quote and unquote unexplainable death. Research shows that 90% of the illnesses people report to the hospitals with are just caused by the effects of stress, and that they are not caused by disease-causing organisms. 90% of all the illnesses are not pathogenic. They are all effects of stress. And that stress is estimated to cause 63% of all deaths. And they are mostly work-related. Indeed, recently, the BBC announced that work-related stress disorders had been on the ascendancy. The American Institute of Stress announced that 120,000 people die every year as a result of stress, for which $190 billion is spent yearly fighting or managing stress. Locally, we don't have those kind of statistics, but we can infer from them. So it's important that we calm down in spite of the negative news that surround us. It's also the case that we are more creative and more productive when we are relaxed. So it's important that we relax. And in fact, we should acknowledge that no matter the challenges that come our way, we have the inward potential to be able to deal with them successfully if we are relaxed enough and in tune enough. Being Christians, we can comfort ourselves or encourage ourselves with Ephesians 3:20. We said that He is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we can think or ask according to the power that is at work within us. We are so powerful, except that when we are growing, we are not made to be aware of that power within us. Scientists estimate that each and every individual born into this world is capable of coming up with an idea, a theory, a product, or a service. In other words, a business that is capable of impacting positively on the lives of at least 1 billion people within a 10-year period. So whether we know it or not, whether we are making the effort or not, this is the minimum potential in you, and that is the minimum potential in me. Let's note that there's so much power within us. Right. The other thing you need to get to know, and because of time, I won't be able to go into details. So I'll just mention them and then go on to discuss other things. So the first one is you must learn to manage your emotions. As humans, we are emotional back. Most of the decisions we take are emotions driven. And so when we don't manage our emotions well, we make the wrong decisions. To the extent that I would say that when emotions come in by the door, reasoning leaves by the window. So you must learn to manage your emotions. There's a whole process in managing emotions. I can't go through all that for the sake of time. Then you must learn to manage people, and especially apply emotional intelligence to managing people. So in essence, we say learn to lead people, because when it comes to people, people are emotional beings. So you don't necessarily manage them. If you try to manage them as you do for resources, you don't get the best of results. You learn to lead people. Then you learn to manage your finances, not just your finances within the business, but your general finances. So how you spend and all that. Then you must learn to manage your health. Very, very, very important. Time and again, we've heard experts guiding us on what to do to be on top of our health, exercising, eating healthy, and all the rest of them that I don't want to repeat, since they are not new to us. But I want to emphasize that to take advantage of the macroeconomic environment we find ourselves, you need good health. And then you need to manage your faith. I can't stress this enough. Oftentimes, especially Christians, because of the mantra, what God cannot do does not exist, we become very, very unreasonable in how we apply faith to certain things. It fails us, and then we blame God and go into all manner of stress unduly. So learn to manage your faith. Now let me move to an overview of the business environment that we find ourselves, both locally and globally. And with that, I ask the question, where is the money? Where is the money, and how can we find it? The amount of money in an economy either remains constant or increase. And often the amount of money in the economy increase, except that the managers of the economy try to balance it against inflation. But inflation or no inflation, money in the system increases from time to time. So when you find out that the money is not with you, then it means the money is with someone else, and that you must take steps, put in systems or processes to legally and voluntarily, quote and unquote, compel the other people who have the money to release some to you. And it's by providing value by way of products or services to the people who have the money. You need to evaluate the business you are in currently and ask yourself whether you are really, really making profit. In a nutshell, the profit is declared only after you pay for all the resources and or all the expenditure that has gone into delivering your product or service, including paying yourself and the payments you make for every other person who is involved in the delivery of the product or a service. So for instance, when you buy, let's say, a phone worth 1,000 cedis and you sell it for 1,500 Ghana cedis, 500 is not your profit. You must deduct how much you are entitled to for delivering that service. And if you travel to a different location to buy the phone, you must deduct the cost of transport. If you drove, you must deduct your fuel and the wear and tear on the vehicle you drove and so on. So you must actually account for every component that has gone into delivering the product or a service. It's only after you've deducted all these, including paying yourself, that the excess can then be described as profit. There are a lot of businesses that are not making true profit, but they think they are making profit. As a quick measure, if you take steps to reduce expenditure in your business and then take steps to increase profit in your business, and we'll share more as we go along. But there's a question to ask and answer. Are you running a business in the true sense of a business, or are you undertaking a passion project? When it comes to business, the focus is on other value and profit, as opposed to passion, where It's about personal interest, personal satisfaction, and so on, and then impact before profit. I'll share more on this depending on the questions that come along the way. All right. To be able to take advantage of the environment, you have to be passionate about multiple streams of income. There are two modes of making income or creating wealth. We have the passive and then have the active. Active means you have to be there and be involved before products and services get delivered and profits are made, right? If you are not there, the business will suffer. Okay, that is active mode. Now, passive mode is to be able to be away for a year or more and still have the business going. And ultimately, the business will be able to run without your involvement at all. That is the ultimate. Moving from being a solopreneur to being a true entrepreneur and then becoming a business owner, where others are doing the work for you and you just pay them and enjoy the profit thereof. Being passionate about multiple streams of income means you must count on the passive, which is often automated system, as against the active or the manual, which involves human intervention. These multiple streams of income can be either online or offline. So for passive and automated, there are a whole lot, especially online options like affiliate marketing, drop shipping, and so on. Depending on the questions that come, I can go into details for want of time. All right. It can also have multiple products or different product lines within one business. So when we say multiple streams of income, it does not necessarily mean different business. So if you remember the example of Lamborghini, one particular range of products, customized supercars, gave Lamborghini the edge. Bible says that we should not relent in sowing at all times and differently. But you never know which one will really give you the result as and when. So you need a range of products. In the same vein, you need a range of services. And beyond the range of products, the range of services, you can also look at a range of enterprises or businesses. So one business is maybe into clothing, another business is into farming, and so on. So you can either look at multiple products, multiple services, or multiple enterprises, or a combination of it. That said, you must find enough right people to serve. And here, I'm using people to serve in place of customers. And later, I'll emphasize on the point that we should be service-minded. So you must identify the right kind of people to serve. The right kind of people are people who really, really need your product or service, that you don't have to hassle to sell to them. And more so, people who have the means to pay without much haggling over the price. You need enough of such people to offer the product and services. And where do you find them? You get to that. You said that you can get everything you want in life to help enough other people to get what they want. But focus on finding enough right people to serve. Having said that, I want to talk about the lock and the key principle. It's so important that it can never be overemphasized. And that will lead me into identifying the right kind of people and the right kind of products and services to deliver to this right kind of people. Ordinarily, it doesn't make sense to create a key and go around looking for locks to use the key you created to open. It makes more sense to find a lock that needs a key, and then you fashion out a key to open that lock. The lock here may represent the need people have, the problems people are facing in their life. And the key here will be the solution you can bring to these people who have problems. At this point, don't focus too much on your business. Focus more on the people. I know you have a certain business you are running. That is the key. Now, chances are that based on the volatile, uncertain, chaotic, and ambiguous nature of the macroeconomic environment, you may not find enough people who have the kind of problems that your products and services can solve. Because you already have keys and you are looking for lock, chances are that you may not find enough lock that your key can open. But if you focus on the people, you find so many locks among the people that are around you. And then you find a way of finding out solutions to their problems. Now understand that because of the issue of inflation, we might generate profit at a rate that exceeds the inflationary rate. And that is a lot of work. When you realize that incessantly the number of people you can serve by what you are currently doing will not give you the sort of profit that you need. If you are not finding enough people who can pay handsomely for the product and service, then it is wiser to then look for people who have the means or the wherewithal to afford whatever solutions that come their way as long as they meet their product. And then rather deliver solutions to those people. Opportunities abound. All we need is a service mindset to identify the opportunities, process them into profit. I found this on social media. I just couldn't imagine that there are people in this country who just want to go and pay to have American accent. But who knows? Maybe this person has actually identified it as a need and he's making the effort to serve the people who have such needs. I want to talk about a more reliable process one can take to identify people's needs and then make them. Our natural abilities are not opportunities enough. Rather, complaints, problems, and difficulties people face. And one critical process we use is the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Everybody has biological needs when it comes to having sufficient food, water, warmth, etc. The natural process, everybody needs. So this creates a very huge opportunity for us to take advantage of. But then, because more people have these needs, more people tend to serve these needs. So profit margins within these needs are very slim, unless you play at the big scale of wholesale and things like that. The next level of requirement is security requirements. So beyond security needs, people need security. If you're able to provide, your chance of making more profit within that bracket is higher than providing security needs. And then higher still social needs, the need for people to bond. That's the reason why Facebook has become so big a business. Then esteem and social status. There are certain status symbols. So for instance, the Lamborghini examples that I gave, people buy luxury goods as status symbols. So in spite of the circumstances, there are certain brackets of people who pay handsomely for luxury goods and services. If you can identify them and then provide their luxury goods and services, all the better. And then the pinnacle is self-actualization, helping people to be at their best potential and so on. Now, to find the right kind of people, you must learn to profile people. Okay, and there are so many ways to go about it. You can profile people online, or you can do physical observation and profile people. I talked about that in the RAC banquet, so I suggest that we listen to that so that I can be round up. And then it's important to have a business plan. Oftentimes, we go for business plans when we are seeking to raise funds. I say that that's not the most fundamental or most important function of a business plan. The process of developing a business plan forces you to consider salient issues you wouldn't otherwise have considered if you didn't go through the process of using a standard business planning checklist to evaluate and plan your business. So rather than talking to somebody, give me a business plan or write a business plan for me to go and raise funds. Be interested in involving yourself in developing a business plan using a standard checklist. Force yourself to evaluate your business to identify the right kind of customers, profile them, and then target them. I'll pause here and take questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Egyir. That was exhaustive. God bless you so much. The floor is open for us now.
Mr. Egyir, thank you. That was a very good presentation. I want to find out, typically in Ghana, I think now there's some stability in inflation, interest rate, exchange rate, and all that. But for the period that these macroeconomic indicators were unstable, and one had no control over them, I mean, as a business entity. What should a typical business or a typical SME have done, considering that for a period, they will be unstable, but after the instability period, you still feel the negative effect of the instability. So what should a typical SME have done during such period? Then is it possible to have early warning signals so that you prepare yourself against some of these unstable macroeconomic factors that can ground one's business?
All right. I mentioned in passing the need to reduce expenditure and increase revenue. Many of the processes we undertake in delivering our products and services can be outsourced for less, especially if they are things that can be done online. There are platforms like Upwork, Fiverr, Freelancer, and so on, where people are offering services on one-time basis. You could find a whole lot of people who can affect certain tasks at very, very, very reasonable prices. And then having physical presence and expecting people to come to your premises in order to patronize your product and service, that's a very expensive option. So rather opt for you delivering your products and services to the people at premium prices. So you spend less eventually, but make more money. And then the people that you sell to, identify other needs around them and deliver those needs. So you upsell to them. Don't just say that you are dealing in, say,
maybe real estate.
Okay, you are selling property. So let's take houses. You are selling houses. When you sell the house to the house owner, don't say that you are done with your book. You can go into helping with the interior aspects as well. Sign a maintenance contract, gardening services. So always think of upselling. Once a person buys from you, the readiness for him to buy others from you is very high. So it pays to upsell to such a person. And then take referral. And there's a nice way to go about it. Any person you do business with, any person you sell to, that person knows at least 7 other people who may need your products and services. Let them give you referrals. And when they give you referrals, the people receive you more readily and are more ready to do business with you than without referrals. And they also, as you interact with them, profile them. What are some of the other things you can sell to them other than what you refer to? So you're always scanning out for opportunities. Now let me go to how to anticipate. One way is to be attentive to the news. Okay. However, you must always read in between the lines, because the news portals are interested in fear and panic, because that's what gets our attention. Sometimes they can exaggerate, but invariably you find some iota of truth in the negative news they keep sharing. Let's be sensitive to them. Let's look around. Let's interact with
People who are
in places that may be privy to coming events. So let's say people in the financial sector. Also, history has a very funny way of repeating itself. So you can look at global trends and based on that forecast. You may also pay attention to experts in various fields, especially the field of finance, who make forecasts. So in addition to the weather, people make business environment forecasts. We must pay attention to such people. Some of the services are paid for. So you may subscribe to some of those business intelligence information and be privy to some of the trends that has been analyzed and forecasted to guide you. And also, as we are Christians, we trust the power of the Holy Spirit to impress upon us some of these unforeseeable issues. But then, depending on your level of maturity, you cannot trust those things fully, depending on your level of maturity. So these are various options that I can share for now.
Thank you very much, sir. In your presentation, you draw our attention to the fact that technology is advancing, and then you cited examples using the chat GPT, how the AI application was able to suggest possible menus
Yes.
Now, so considering we as business people trying to sail through irrespective of economic challenges, what are some of the ways that you think we can harness this AI thing?
Great. As business people, your business thrives on your market outlet, and marketing thrives on a good story that resonates with your prospective customer. Okay. You can use AI to research on issues that will excite your prospective customers and ask the AI to write a sales copy. Sales copy is like the content of what you want to present to customers in order to get the customer to patronize the product or service. Okay. There are tools that you just use in your target customer. In fact, you can even use AI to set the ideal customer for your product and service, or use AI to set growing trends or growing needs in the business environment, and then ask the AI to write and copy them. Businesses need websites. There are AI tools that today you can even just get how you want your website to look like, upload it, and then the AI will take the text you uploaded and create a website based on the text. You can use AI to rewrite the content of your website. Oftentimes, we see our website as just information bulletins rather than a salesperson. AI can write the content of your website such that it becomes more persuasive for the visitor to want to do business with you. You can use AI to draft email, just type in your keyword and you are good to go. Especially for those who are into IT services, you can use AI such as Lead Gorilla to actually find out the needs of other businesses within certain enclaves, evaluate the power of their online presence, generate reports automatically that suggest what they need to improve and so on. And then use that as a thing to sell to them. I've mentioned this Gorilla. For the copywriting, there are AI softwares like Writer.me or Jasper, Rewriter, there's Quillbot, and others. You can use AI to generate product images. So there are AI tools like Midjourney. Midjourney is very good in generating product images based on just the description you give it. You can generate options. You can refine what you generate by changing your prompt or what you tell the system to do. And based on that, it will do it for you. So there's a whole lot that you can do using some of these tools. Later, I can make a list available for us to see the various options.
Thank you very much, sir.
My question is, in our presenter's presentation on multiple stream of income, he had wanted to enlighten us on some. He touched on two main things: passive and active streams of income. He had wanted to elaborate a bit on the passive. I want to narrow it specifically to the online sources that he had wanted to let us know. So I want to ask if he can enlighten us a bit about the passive source of income via online sources and make some of these sources available to leadership that they can share with members who may want to look into that. So some enlightenment quickly and the possibility of sharing those sources with leadership so that members can have access.
Okay, great.
Dave, may I suggest that because of our time, we
do it offline and make it available.
We post it on the page.
All right.
I was going to ask a question similar to what Edward asked. Mine, not online, but the other side. If somebody has, say, 100,000 Ghana cedis and wants to start a business in Ghana, looking at the business environment, what would you suggest? What business areas can such a person get into?
100,000. No matter what people will build, and builders or construction people often rent equipment. You can get a few equipment and make them available for rental. So rentals in general, you can set up automated car washing bays. You can set up what we call laundromat. Just a station that has washing machines. People go and pay and wash their stuff. It's not popular in Ghana yet, but I've seen one, the Community Road. Yes, there's one there, and they've advertised that they are starting another in Tema. It's a good business. It can be unmanned. It can be automated. All you need is to get a very good location and set it up. If you automate it, you can sleep and enjoy. And then people will always see. If you can do very good food and find large organizations that are prepared to patronize directly, so you deliver to them and not sit and wait for people to come in. Or find people who are already doing good food, get a vehicle and use it for delivery. You may or may not be the one driving, and so on. I'll list more offline and then make available.
That's right.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
So we'll be very grateful.
All right. So thank you all for making time to participate in this interesting session. I believe we're blessed. We still have our platform there for more questions. And then Mr. Egyir will make himself available to respond with time.